Hey everybody, Dan here with Do It Dan Outdoors. I'm out on a piece of private property that we had access to do some habitat improvements to back last January. So we came in here, we marked, you can see the trees behind me here, marked with ribbons. We've never done anything like this before. I watched a bunch of the Whitetail Habitat Solution videos on YouTube that Jeff Sturgis does. So I'm curious to see if we get up in here. If you can see, I'm just about there behind me, the big opening. So these woods, traditionally, in the last 5 years that we have had access to hunt it, was, I would consider, a mature forest. There was not a whole lot of undergrowth, no briars, no thick areas. There's kind of a marsh over here on my one shoulder, but the deer never hung in here because there's no cover for them. There are white oaks and red oaks. We would hang some cameras and it was all nighttime movement that was coming through here. So we did some of these cuts January, February, March, and this is the first time I'm coming back in here. It's now June 12th, so I'm hoping to see our hinge cuts survived. They're providing some of that horizontal cover, and I doubt the canopy that we opened up will show any undergrowth yet. I think it's still too early. I think we'll really see that improvement next season, but I'm gonna walk up here and see if any of that work that we did in January, February, March helped improve this area. And ultimately, you know, we're gonna have to wait till fall time to see if any of the deer movement through here is daytime. I do have a game camera I'm gonna hang. I'm gonna make a mock scrape, and I'm also gonna do one of the licking branches that Jeff Sturgis does as well. So we'll see, you know, I'll have to do a follow-up video in the fall to see if any of this actually helped this area. But just want to document it, share it with you guys. You know, drop a comment down below if you've tried any of these techniques on private property or property that you have access to, and if you've seen success. I'm curious to see what the community has been doing, and if you see any mistakes that we might have made, please let us know as well. We're learning as we go here. So let's walk up here and see if any of these hinge cuts survived. All right, so this is the area that we started clearing out. And as you can tell, we did open up a portion of the canopy. We still got to clean up some of these logs in here. We just kind of ran out of time before spring turkey season started. But you can see the hinge cuts that we made. I'll get up there and see if any of those survived. These ones over here look like they did. But we did notice there was a significant difference when doing the hinge cuts when it was super cold. Like, I would say in the 20s, the hinge cuts would just snap. So that's definitely one thing we learned. There's kind of a sweet spot with the temperature ranges of, you know, right around freezing up to about 40 degrees, 45 degrees. When we had those days and we did the hinge cuts, they fell perfectly. They didn't snap. So that's something we learned as we went along, and we stopped trying to do the hinge cuts when it was super cold. But you can tell as I video here how dark the woods are in this area here, where their canopy isn't opened up, and really all we have in here are ferns. And like I was saying, the deer never held in here. So we're hoping that this area here, I highly doubt it'll happen this year, will just naturally get thicker and provide some of that cover, green briars and such that the deer like. And then we tried to do our hinge cuts outward to leave this area here from getting too clogged and choked up. I did come back in some snow that we had in February, and the hinge cuts that we did do before that point, the deer were just hammering because the buds were still on the treetops when we hinged them. So, you know, I guess you could say that was successful. But yeah, you can tell, I don't know if the video is going to show it, but we have green tops on these trees that we hinged. So they did stay alive. I'll walk over here. These ones are a little bit easier to access. But you can tell, you know, we're getting sprouts. Yeah, this is one of the hinge cuts that we did here. You have your buds coming along here, so that hopefully the deer will feed on this and provide bedding areas amongst the pile of hinge cuts that we did. So, I mean, again, we don't really know what we're doing. We did a little bit of research and kind of just kind of sent it. But I'm kind of happy with how this is looking here. So I'm curious to see if I can find any beds yet. But yeah, these hinge cuts here, these all survived. All right, so this is another section of hinge cuts. You can see these are all still alive. So they developed leaves since doing that hinge. You could tell some of these hinges weren't perfect. This is what I was referring to when we were doing them when they were too cold. The trees were too cold. But yeah, we got, you know, all these are greening up. So I'm real happy that that we didn't kill all the trees. Some of these got a little bit lower than we would have liked. But again, this is our first attempt at this. So, but again, as you can tell, the area always looked like this, just wide open, no underbrush. So I'm hoping that this open canopy will transform this area. And if it works, we can keep pushing down that direction and make a decent size habitat improvement here. All right, so from what I'm seeing so far, I'm happy. Again, with not a whole lot of experience doing this, I'm happy to see that the majority of our hinge cuts survived. Ultimately, I'm going to have to wait until September till archery season starts, and if we can harvest some deer in here, I guess that'll be the real determination if this was successful or not. I did hunt this area for the last 4 years, and like I said earlier, I never harvested anything back here because the deer only moved through here at night. There was no reason for them to be in here during the day. There's a lot of acorns, but there's no cover for them. So that was the whole idea behind this, was to kind of create maybe a bedding area or just a spot that they feel a little bit more comfortable to be in during the day. So I'll take a look here at some of the other hinge cuts and get that camera hung up, and then do a follow-up to this video in September. Or maybe if I pull the camera before the season starts, I'll do an Instagram update with some of the photos that hopefully I get off this camera. So as I started clearing the debris away from underneath the licking branch to make a mock scrape, I did not realize the kids took the saw and were hacking away at a tree on the right side of the camera here.
Timber! Hey Daddy, look!
That's a perfect hinge cut.
Oh.
All right, so I'm using this spot here. I don't know if you can see there's a break in the rock wall. So the deer are naturally coming in to this area that we improved the habitat, called the habitat improvement area. So what I did here is I took this tree, used some 550 cord, tied it off to this tree to make a spot for me to do a vertical licking branch. Again, this is something that I picked up from watching Jeff Sturgis's YouTube channel, Whitetail Habitat Solutions. Made a mock scrape, and I'll hang a game camera now, and hopefully the deer that travel through here will stop and hit this licking branch, and I'll put my game camera on one of these trees here. But my kids are out here with me today, and they did a perfect hinge cut. So I guess I can't yell at the kids. They're staying busy while I am out here trying to do my thing. It's always a fun balance when you hunt and have family and got to try to figure out how to balance all that. So as you can see behind me, the kids are out here with me, the dogs are out here with me. Some people might say, well, you're just increasing the scent profile. It's June 12th, and yeah, obviously we're leaving some scent here, but the wife is on Coast Guard reserve duty, so if I wanted to get this done, I had to bring the kids along. So you make sacrifices. So curious to see if this licking branch and mock scrape will produce anything, but time will tell. Sloan, what are you doing over here?
I'm making a mock scrape.
A mock scrape? What else we got going on here? What's that?
This is a licking spot, and they use it for scratching their heads.
Yeah, and why are we using a stick?
Then I don't use my scent.
You don't leave your scent in the mock scrape? Good job. What are you doing over there, Deck?
Cutting moss.
Cutting moss with that's on top of a rock?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's good for the blade. So thanks for coming along. As always, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so that you know when we drop new videos. Thanks for watching, and from all of us that do it in outdoors, be safe, and keep an eye out for our next video.